right. I guess I'm gonna talk about my awakening. Uh, October 19th, 2013. I uh, I took 2 grams of shrooms, and that trip that I went on, forever, my life was forever changed from that trip. It was crazy. Um, a couple days before, like I used to valet, and there was this girl there. She was older than me. Uh, I was 21 at the time. She was 30, and she just gave me her number one day, and I was intimidated by her because like she had every. I didn't have it like that. She had everything going on for her. She like worked for this company, and she had it together, you know. But she just gave me her number one day, and we went out on a few dates. I don't know if you call them dates. I don't know. We just talked. We talked, and it was cool. And a couple days before October 19th, 2013, before I took the shrooms, she she sent me a video, a YouTube video, and she said, "Trey, if you don't learn anything from me, I want you to learn this." And I looked at it, and it was like an hour and some change long. So I was like, I'm gonna wait until I can sit down and watch this video until I watch it, to watch the whole thing and pay attention. And anyway, she sent me that video like a couple days before. Okay, and then the day of, like, um, me and a couple of my friends were like, we're gonna trip on shrooms, and so they planned the day out or whatever, and they were like, we're gonna do it this day, this night. And I was like, well, I don't get off work till late, so I'm probably not gonna be there till like 11 or something. And they're like, okay, we'll wait up for you. And so I got there. I got to the house where we used to kick it at. I wasn't living there at the time, but later I would live at that house. But we showed up at the house, and um, we showed up at the house, and uh, we all have. I have 2 grams. I don't know how much they have or whatever, but they got pizza, and they're like, they say it's nasty, so we're gonna eat them with the pizza. I didn't. I just threw them in my mouth, ate it up, and drank something with it. I don't remember it tasting just awful, but anyway, I took it, and uh, about 30 minutes in, we're waiting for it to kick in, and so we start smoking, and like we're smoking out of like a pipe or whatever, but I'm rolling a blunt up, and like it starts kicking in, and it was a social thing for not long at all. It was only a social thing for like 10 minutes. We're like, yeah, we're tripping or whatever, but there was 3 of us, and we all had our own trip. We were all in our own worlds, and all 3 of us during the trip were like, I need to go home. But anyway, I get the blunt roll. We're tripping, and we start smoking this blunt, and we're passing it around. And I'm sitting like at this bar, like it's not an island in her kitchen, but it's this bar, and it's connected. And we're sitting around this bar, like dude sitting here, and I'm sitting on the other side of the bar. And there's this chair right here, and I start zoning out to this chair. Like the seat of this chair is just looking trippy and shit. And I'm just zoning out, and we're passing this blunt around. Dude, like as soon as we start hitting this blunt and we start tripping, he's like, I need to go home. He left. He went home. So it's just me and him now. He's in his own world. I'm in my own world. We're passing this line back and forth. And before it gets to like halfway, he's like, I need to go home. And so he goes home. So now it's just me and this blunt in this chair. And the owner of the house, she's still there. She's in the living room. Like I can see her in the living room. And she has this like air mattress out. I don't know if it's air mattress, but a mattress out. And she's laying there. She's talking on the phone or whatever. She's not tripping. And so it's just me, this blunt, and her in this chair. And I'm zoning out to this chair. I'm puffing on this blunt. And uh, then then the trip starts coming on. Like I'm already tripping, but then I start receiving messages. Like during the trip, I start receiving messages that I know are from something else. I can't really explain it. And that really makes me start, because like this is a crazy ass experience. And I want to say, like, before this experience, I was atheistic in belief. You know, I wasn't just closed minded, because I would always say, like, as I believe right now, you know, I was in darkness before I was born. And so I believe that was death. I believe I was already dead and then I was born. And so when I die, I'm going back to dead, to the darkness. And so I'm atheistic in belief, right? And I'm puffing this blunt, watching this chair, and I start receiving like messages, and they're in the form of like thought formed images. Like I would get images, just how you can like daydream and think and get an image in your head. Like there were clear images in my head, and as soon as I saw the image, I knew exactly what was being said. It was crazy. And like I said, this trip happened um, a while back ago, so I don't really know. I'm just gonna give you what I remember. More happened, but as far as like messages and stuff, but I'm just gonna give you what I remember. So I'm smoking this blunt, and like I start more zoning out on the blunt, and I start getting these messages, and one of them was, the image that appeared was uh, a mouse inside like a cage, inside a rectangular like glass cage, and uh, he was trying to find his way out. And when I saw this image, I immediately knew experiment. And that's the, like when I saw it, I knew that it was life's an experiment. And so this is happening to me, and she's in there laying down, and I start getting like paranoid, because because like I can hear her talking, and I start thinking that she's talking to somebody about me tripping, like I'm tripping out, I'm wigging out. And so like I start to get paranoid, like am I wigging out? And I stand up and I'm like, hey, am I tripping? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, am I tripping? Like, and she's like, no, you're cool. And that makes me go even more, because I'm thinking like she's like trying to calm me down, like, no, you're not tripping, you're okay. Trying to calm me down. But then I'm just like, I'm gonna go home. And so I start going home, and she's like, hey, call me so I know that you made it home all right. And I was like, all right. And I get in my car, and I start backing out. Okay. I'm backing out of my car, and to the side of her house, she has like this garage shed thing. And I'm backing out, and I'm zoning out like on this garage set as I'm backing out, and it starts turning like hellish. Like it looks like the gates of hell. Like it really, I'm tripping, you know. It starts looking like the gates of hell, and I'm backing out, and as it's doing that, uh, darkness starts going over everything. like my vision, everything. So much so that like I stop backing out and I go like this to my eyes to because it feels like I'm closing my eyes like that. That's how the darkness coming. And I'm like, no, my eyes are open and this darkness is still coming. And it comes, it completely engulfs me, and I'm just chilling in my car. I just stop, and it completely engulfs me, and I feel like I'm dying, like I'm dying. And when this darkness comes over me, the thought comes, "This is what you believe, right?" Because I was atheist to believe. I thought I was going back to the darkness, and like, "This is what you believe, right?" And I'm thinking I'm dying, and I just go like, "No." I'm like, "No, this isn't happening. I'm not dying." I'm like, "No," and then it comes back, like, you know, vision come out. I'm like, "Fuck," and I back out, and I start going home, and it happens again. It happens like a couple miles before I get to my house, and I'm stopping it. As I'm stopping at the stop sign, it starts happening again, and the darkness starts coming, and I stop. I'm like, fuck, and I stop, and I'm like, no, 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 and it completely engulfs me, and I believe I'm dying. Like that's what I believe, and and the darkness completely engulfs. I'm like, no, I'm like, this is not happening. I'm not dying, and then it comes out again. It comes out again. I'm at the stop sign, and then I make it all the way home. I make it all the way home, and then I go in the house, and my stepdad's son was there. um, he was laying down on the couch. He was asleep, and he's light skinned like me. He's younger than me, but he's light skinned like me, and he kind of looks like me a little bit, you know. And I walk in the house, and then I go to my room, and when I go to my room, I put down my keys in my wallet. And when I put down my keys in my wallet, I walk back out of the room to the front door. And when I'm walking back to the front door, I see him laying on the couch. And the thought that comes to me is, that's you. That's what will come. And I don't know. I look at him, it's like, that's you. And I go to the front door, and like, I go to the front door, turn around, go right back to my room, and I'd like take off my shirt, put it down, and I walk back to the front door, look at him, and it's like, that's you. And I'm at the front door. I turn around, go back to my room, and I take off another article of clothing. Like, I was like preparing to go to bed, but like one step at a time, I was preparing, and I would go back to the door and then come back to my room, look at dude, and be like, that's you. But anyway, I got to my room, and I was completely ready to go to bed. I got in the bed, I put the covers over me, and the thought that came to me was, you make your own bed. You make the bed that you sleep in. And the like what was going with that was like, you create your own reality. That's what was going. Uh, that was the thoughts that was going. You make your own bed. You sleep in the bed you make. And okay, so that happens. I'm laying there, and that's going through my mind. Uh, so other thoughts that were coming to me were like thoughts of insanity. Like it was crazy. Like I had thoughts that the police were coming. Like the police were about to come into my room and take me away because I was insane. Uh, I had this thought that um, I was already insane, and that my whole life that I've been living was in the mind of that insane person in the insane asylum. Like I was in the insane asylum. My whole life really hasn't happened. It was just the mind of being insane in the insane asylum. That's like the thoughts I was having. I'm laying there in bed. These things are happening. I'm like, fuck. And then like it calms down. Like I calm down and I'm not like really tripping anymore. And so I remember to call girl to make tell her I got home right. I call her and I'm like, man, this is crazy, you know, whatever. And she's laughing. I was like, I thought I was tripping over there. I was like, was I tripping over there? You know, and she was like, no, you were cool. She was like, I was just kind of worried about you a little bit because you seemed like you were paranoid and you were just leaving. And I was like, no, I'm cool. I made it. I'm all right. And I'm like, well, I'm going to try to get some sleep. And she was like, good luck with that. And as soon as she said, good luck with that, it like led on to another trip. And I'm like, and I hung up the phone and I start tripping again. And this time, when cause I'm like raised up in the bed, uh, with my feet on the ground, sitting on the bed, talking to her, and like I look around and everything looks like energy. That's the best way I can describe it. Everything looks like energy. And I put the phone down and and it's badass. Like it's cool. Like I can't tell you like where my state of mind was because like now that I think about it, it's just like some crazy shit, you know, like thinking that I was insane and shit. But I was just rolling with it, I guess. And I put the phone down and I just lay back in bed and I feel great. Like you know how like when you're rolling on ecstasy, how you feel? That's how I felt. Like I lay back in bed, I'm feeling fucking great. I'm feeling like energy, waves, the ocean and shit. And everything was like energy. And that's the thought that came to me. The thought said, everything is energy. Everything is energy and you get what you give. Like it was referring back to you make your own bed. That thought, it was referring back to that. It was like everything is energy. You make your own bed. And so I'm laying there, everything's energy, and I'm thinking, and this whole time, like this whole time, oh, okay. Check, I'm gonna have to go back. Alright. When that happened, this is what happened. I was on the phone and she said, good luck with that. And when she said good luck with that, the darkness came back again. That's what happened, okay? She said, good luck with that. And the darkness came back again. And it starts going all over me. And the darkness completely engulfs me. And I'm like, fuck. And I think I'm dying. And there was a light. Now, I was preparing for bed, so I don't believe this light was on. But there was a light. And then there was like darkness. It like switched. There was a light. And then there was darkness. And I was looking at both. And the thought that came to my head was, what do you want? It was like, choose a side. And then the darkness started coming back again. And like I can't tell you like how I was, but because like since I was atheistic and believed, like I guess I don't know, but this darkness coming over me, and I'm just being stubborn, I guess, because like I never wanted to be that guy who didn't believe in a God, and then when some shit went down, would cry out to a God. And so that's what I'm doing. Like it's like this darkness is coming over me, and I'm like, no, no. And the thoughts is coming. Is this what you want? This is what you believe that's gonna happen when you die, right? Do you want darkness for eternity? Is this what you want? And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, no, no, I don't. And it's wanting me, and it's saying like, pick a side, light or darkness. And I'm like, no. I'm just sitting there like, no. And then finally, like, I'm believing I'm about to die so much, like I'm believing this is the end. I'm just like, the light. I choose the light. I'm just like, the light, and I look over and the light's there. I'm like, the light. And whenever I do that, boom, that's when everything turns to energy. And I start feeling great. Like I said, I choose the light, and I look over, there's the light, boom, then everything's energy. And I'm feeling great. And I'm like, whew. And I lay back in the bed, and I put the covers on me. And like the feeling of and like I was saying, like I feel like I'm rolling, you know what I'm saying? And I put the covers, and the covers feel great, and everything is energy. And the thoughts come to me, and it says, everything is energy. Everything is energy, and you get what you give. You create your own reality, and it was referring back to the thought of making your own bed. You make your own bed, and so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and uh, my door's not closed, my door's open, and I'm thinking, okay, if and we kind of like start talking, me and this whatever, and I'm like, okay, and I was like, if I create my own reality, then with thoughts, and it even said that too, your thoughts create your reality with your thoughts, and I was like, okay, this is what I think. I was like, I want a bad bitch to walk through this door and lay in here with me in this bed, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm concentrating, like I'm trying to make this happen. I'm looking at my door and it's open. I'm waiting for this chick to walk in, right? And she never does. And then, like, I get this knowing that it's like it takes time. Cause and effect takes time, like, and that's why. And I was like, oh, it takes time. And they're like, yeah, and that's how we were like talking. It's weird. I can't explain it, but it was like that. Like came to me, and I was like, oh, so it takes time. And he's like, yeah, it takes time. You're gonna have to put focus to get back, you know. And I'm like, okay, let's see what else happened. And okay, that thought is like, okay, it takes time. Everything is energy. Then it stopped, and everything went back to normal. And like, I'm not feeling nothing or anything, and it's I kind of like, let me try to get it. Let me try to really think. Yeah, and I kind of like, um, it's like I'm done. I'm like sober, you know, like everything goes back. I'm done, and I'm chilling there. I'm just laying in bed, like, what the fuck happened? Because like, I knew I was tripping, but what was happening to me felt so surreal. Like, I knew that these thoughts and these formed images I was having was fucking, like, there was a part of me that was like, this isn't part of the trip, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy, you know. But then, you know, it's like I was tripping, but I'm just sitting there in bed and I'm thinking like, what the fuck just happened? And I look over and I see my phone, and I pick it up, and I don't know what I'm doing, because I didn't pick it up with the intention to look at that message that woman had sent me. I told you she sent me a message with a video that was like an hour and something long, and I didn't watch it. I didn't know nothing about it in the title or anything. It was just an hour and something long, and so I wasn't trying to watch it until I had time. Well, I ran across it, and I just clicked on it, and I started watching this video. And the video I started watching was The Secret. You know, that big, it went big, you know, Law of Attraction. It was The Secret, that movie. And I'm starting watching this movie, and I'm flipping the fuck out, because I was just told that everything is energy, you get what you give. And like, that paradigm wasn't in my paradigm at all. Like, I was atheist in belief, and I was so physical, like I had no idea about energy, you know, nothing like that. And so when I start watching this secret, like, my mind is fucking blown, because I'm like, this woman sent me this video 2 days ago, and now it's connecting with my trip. I was fucking, this blew my mind. I'm watching this video and I'm like, what the fuck? So I watched the video, I'm done watching the video, and I go to sleep. I don't think anything else happens after that. I go to sleep. I go to sleep. I wake up. And when I wake up, I wake up and I immediately get out of bed, and I go to the mirror, and I see myself in the mirror, and I go, and I take a huge ass breath, like the deepest breath I've ever taken in my life. And I'm like, and this action, when I woke up, it was like a involuntary action. I just did it. I woke up, got up, looked in the mirror, took a deep ass breath, and went, And I was like, and after I took that breath, I was like, what the fuck happened? And I seem to do that a lot. Like, I have experiences and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? You know? And I go and I take a long ass shower. I jumped in the shower and I'm just sitting there in the shower and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, everything is energy. What? Oh, and that's another thing. Before the trip stopped, you know, I was seeing everything in energy, and then it just stopped. Before it stopped, this is what was said. The thought that I received was, "Don't take my word for it. Go look this up." That's the thought, and then poof, everything went back to normal. And so I'm sitting there in the shower, and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" And I'm thinking about all this, and thinking about how that video connected. And I will say this: this is something else. Before I tripped, I went to work that day, and that whole day, I was working. I was thinking about God. I wasn't going into the trip doing these shrooms with wanting to get an experience like this out of it, but that whole day, like, and it was, I couldn't get it off my mind. I kept thinking about like the Bible, Jesus, Jehovah. I was just thinking a lot about existence in life, you know. I don't know, and it was more so that I was aware of how much I was thinking. I was like, why am I thinking about this so much? I just was thinking about it a lot. But anyway, and so that's what started me on this path, is that experience of, and it was mainly, what did it was that girl sending me that video 2 days before, and then me having this trip, and everything that trip said, the secret, the law of attraction was saying, blew my fucking mind. And after that, shit, I went to the library and I started looking. You know, like quantum physics. Quantum physics says that everything is energy. You know, that's, they say that. You know, it's proven. Everything is energy. I'm like, fuck, you know, and that's what put me on this path, you know. And then a little bit later, somehow astral travel came into my reality, and then I have a video talking about my astral travel experiences. But that's what, taking those shrooms, October 19th, 2013, changed everything for me. And then after that, you know, when being said, look this shit up, I went and looked shit, and I was dedicated to this path. And even more divine shit happened after that. Like, I would go to the library and I would just like pick out a random, like, I'd be in the section of what I wanted, and I picked out this book talking about right brain and left brain, and I was reading about it, and I just kind of picked it out, and I was reading about it, and then later on, like, through YouTube videos or through whatever, through my searches, like, I needed to know about right brain and left brain in order to get these in order to get these other books, and in order to get the message out of the other teachings. And so, like, everything was just stacking up. And then, like, when I would experiment with your thoughts, like, if you focus on something, I watched this video and dude was like, focus on somebody you haven't seen in a long time, or something like that. Focus on it, and all day, and watch it. Somehow, in some way, that person's name or something will come into your reality. And sure enough, that's what I did, and that fucking blew me away. Like, for a week, I would focus on seeing somebody I hadn't seen, and I would run into somebody I hadn't seen in a long time. And then I got even more specific. I started thinking about my ex, and I'm like, I'm thinking. Like, for a long time, it was probably like for a couple of days, I was focusing on my ex. And then sure enough, like, this guy I worked with, he came up to me. He was about my age, but he lived in like Yukon. He was like, dude, I was chilling with this girl the other day, and he told me her name. And I was like, yeah, I remember that. And he was like, she started talking about you, and she started talking about this girl you used to date. And he said her name. And I was like, fuck. And it just blew my mind, because you know, you can experiment with this shit. Like, and that's what I did. I experimented with it and I got results. Um, I do want to talk more, but my time, I can only do like 32 minutes or something. But yeah, man, so if you're on this path, and you probably already know if you're watching this that this can be experimented with. And like me, I like shit explained, and so I experimented with a lot of stuff and just proved it to myself, you know. But yeah, um, that's my story about my awakening, you know, going from atheistic belief and then waking up the next day and you're like, God shit. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And that, my search for truth, I was at it, you know. I was up in the clouds and I was lost and I was in the rabbit hole, but I was at it, son. And that was the beginning, October 19th, 2013. You know, that's when life really began for me, you know. But I'm gonna end this, and maybe I'll talk about it more on another video about me experimenting with things and watching them manifest in my reality. But that's a good one. Think about somebody you haven't met, or think about somebody you haven't seen in a long time, and just think about it. Keep it to yourself. Think, concentrate. Watch, son. It's crazy. It'll blow your mind. I love you guys. Take care.